Hello there. So welcome to my first installment of reading people's favorite books. This is something that people do and I enjoy watching them, so I'm going to make one. It should be of no surprise to anyone who has been here for any period of time because we're basically an Allison Paiges stan account at this point. We're going to be reading Allison Paiges' favorite books. Just also want to point out, this is the warmest jumper that I own, and it's because Australia and Australian clothes do not prepare you for the cold because we're basically a tropical climate. But this is the warm jumper of which I cannot find in my local stores. So thanks, Ali, you've saved my winter. But let's talk about the books that I'm gonna read as part of this video. I am gonna move somewhere more comfortable because crouching like this is not. It's the only way to keep them quiet. All right, you go down here. Ali has a favorites video with her favorite books inside of said video, and in this video I picked most of my books excluding one of them because that one is also a widely known favorite of hers. Also, disclaimer, I've already read one of the books. I tried to start this a while ago and then it just took way too long between reading that book and now. For this video and for the sake of this, we're excluding it, but just know that I have read On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong and I thought it was great. It did make me use my brain more than I normally have to use my brain to read, and that was a lovely experience. And it was profound, it was wonderful, all of the words were great, and I really enjoyed this book. So keeping that one off the list, we're just gonna put her back on the shelf. But my selection for this video, oh, I'm so excited. So we are kicking off with The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. This is a middle grade that kind of starts as our main character, who is an autistic boy. I think his name is Christopher. He is trying to solve the mystery of the murder of his neighbor's dog. At the start of the book, he actually gets framed for this murder. Not framed, like he gets arrested a little bit by the murder, but then gets let go because obviously he didn't do it. But it is told from, as stated, the perspective of a person with autism. So it is very interestingly written. I'm 50 pages through this already. We have started this one and I'm thoroughly enjoying myself. I suspect that I'm going to be heartbroken by the end of today because this is today's agenda. Next, we will be starting Room by Emma Donoghue. Room follows a mother and a son who have been kidnapped, but the twist for this is that Room is actually told from the boy's perspective. So this is coming from the eyes of a child, and this room is all that this boy has known. This is going to be an emotional one, to say the very least. There is a movie as well, so we may watch that too in this video. This is one that I have been intending to read actually for a very long time, even before I started watching Ali's videos. Do you mind if I call you Ali? Is that okay? We don't know each other, but I'm gonna go with it. I'm sorry if it's not okay. Next, we will be picking up Coraline by Neil Gaiman. I have read many a Neil Gaiman in my time. I generally always find that his writing is quite interesting, quite beautiful. I have actually seen the movie for Coraline, but it was a very long time ago and I was slightly creeped out by it. So I'm hoping that the book does the same thing. Coraline is a story that follows, obviously, Coraline. She finds a door to another world in which it is kind of like exactly the same as her life, but everything is like ideal and like a little bit better and kind of everything that she wanted. However, the catch to stay in this world, I believe she has to sew buttons to her eyes, which is terrifying. But I routinely love Neil Gaiman and I feel like this is just a classic, and also it's got illustrations in it, which is like equal parts terrifying and cool at the same time. Next, the book that I am the most excited about, the book that I am anticipating to be the best of the bunch, my favorite of the bunch, is Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura. Everyone loves it. Every person that I've seen that Ali has recommended this to loves it. And so I am expecting to love it, and I hope that I do. Lonely Castle in the Mirror is a fantastical story that follows a group of children. They, I think, are avoiding school. They find, again, a door to another place, to a castle, and in the castle they are given a task in which they have to find a key, and if they find a key, they get a wish granted. If they are not home by 5 p.m, something terrible happens with the Wolf Queen, I believe. This is supposedly comparable to like Studio Ghibli vibes, which is something that I'm very here for. And like realistically, the reason I'm doing this is because I need more different favorite books. I need different books. I need to like different books because the books that I like are the same books that I have liked for years. And so that is the lineup, the TBR for this vlog. But as I said, we're going to kick off with The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. A little bit about Ali, because I didn't actually explain that at the start. She, if you don't know, just go watch her. I'll leave her linked, obviously. She makes videos that kind of encompass her life. She's American, she lives in Belgium, and she makes just really cozy videos, really lovely videos. They feel like a warm hug in a way. So if you haven't seen her, go check her out. I'll leave it linked. But I am super excited to start reading some of these books, and I am excited for you to come along with me. So let's go. You gonna enjoy the books with me? I'm sure you will, because it means that you get to sit out with me while I read. Mwah! Okay, let's go. She did not finish the book that day. It has in fact been 3 days, and pretty sure we've got COVID, so that's been fun. But we did finish The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. So I think that this was a beautiful and generally just enlightening story. We follow our main character Christopher. He's a 15-year-old boy who has autism spectrum disorder, anxiety, and I think OCD as well. The book starts with Christopher as he finds his neighbor's dog Wellington murdered, and he sets out on this adventure to solve the mystery of Wellington's murder, essentially. So that's kind of what sets the book up. But the book just goes so much deeper as we follow Christopher in a story that tells the tale of household trauma and abuse, how young people in the world experience autism spectrum disorder and anxiety and OCD, and also the breakdown and repair of close relationships, and how this can be really confusing for someone who does see the world in such black and white terms. And it details so beautifully how scary and overwhelming the world can be with all of its noises and unwritten social rules. I particularly love the fourth wall breaking that happened in this. So Christopher is writing a narrative story about him solving the murder of Wellington, and he gets pointers from his teacher, and just he refers to it so frequently throughout the book, and I really enjoyed that, which is also inclusive of an appendix that has complex mathematics equations. And I didn't intend to, but I found that I accidentally devoured this, and I accidentally flew through it without even realizing that I had finished the book. We chucked in a period of sickness in there as well, but we did not let that stop us from finishing. I don't think that this will be a book that everyone loves. There's definitely a demographic of people that probably wouldn't enjoy this that much, but boy did I have an amazing time reading this book. I wouldn't necessarily say it was fun or exciting to read, but I'm definitely glad I read it, and I feel like the least I can take away from this experience is a little bit of empathy for neurodivergency in this very neurotypical society. But with that out of the way, we are going to immediately pick up Coraline by Neil Gaiman. This is under 200 pages, so I should get through this relatively quickly, and I'm going to try to just sit down and read as much of it as I can today while I still have some time off. I'm waiting on my COVID PCR result to see whether or not I also have the next week off, but for now I just have today off, so we're gonna make the most of today as we can while I still have the energy to put into reading, because it's not gonna last all day. Okay, so we are now officially halfway through Coraline. Ooh, this lighting is not it. Okay, take two. I think that this is one of those stories that you probably needed to read as a child to properly appreciate, or my brain's just not functioning enough, but I'm having an okay time. I will say I remember not loving the movie as I was growing up. I don't know if it scared me or if I was bored, I'm not entirely sure. It is very classically Neil Gaiman though, with the whimsy and the magical realism. It's just so Neil Gaiman, and that part I am enjoying. Like, I'm really enjoying the blend of the mundanity versus the magical realism within this, and the cat so far is my favorite character. It's fun. However, my headache is coming back. I've had Panadol and I've had a little bit of coffee to see if that will ease it, but we'll see how much further we can get through this before it wipes me out for the afternoon, because I suspect, as like yesterday, that's what's gonna happen. I'm just gonna keep trucking along with Coraline for as long as I can.
2 hours later.
We did it. We finished Coraline by Neil Gaiman. Overall, I think it was fine. I'm glad I read it, probably won't read it again type situation. Coraline explored the grass is greener on the other side. In my mind, I remember this being more Coraline actually wanted to live on the other side with the fake family, but I think that this is definitely a fantastic kids story. It would have been terrifying reading this as a child, so maybe like mid-teens, early teens potentially. I said it before, but I consistently love Neil Gaiman's writing. I think that he did a fantastic job at angling this to be easier to read for younger people. Having read some of his adult stuff as well, I can definitely see the shift that he has there. I'm quite glad that I forgot what originally happened in the story, because I think if I had known the ending, it would have been a lot harder for me to actually sit through it. But because I had no idea what was coming, that kind of made it easier to read, like actually uncovering the story for what it was. Like, I feel like I was pleased with the amount of knowledge I had going into this book versus what I now have knowledge of coming out of this book. If I'm gonna be nitpicky about it, I feel like the side characters could have been like done a bit more, but like a middle grade / children's book that's under 200 pages, I can't expect too much. I hate to say it, but overall, wasn't a favorite. Wasn't something that I loved. I'm sorry, Allie. This one potentially just isn't for me in the end. So for now, I'm going to try to start Room by Emma Donoghue. However, I'm fully aware of the fact that this has like teeny tiny writing in it, and my brain is mush and I need to be a vegetable at some point tonight, because otherwise I'm gonna stay sick for a very long time. Still don't know if we have COVID or a flu. No clue, but family have very kindly brought us some groceries, so now we have food to eat, which is a positive. So we have influenza A, we don't have the Rona. However, Jared has the Rona, so we'll see how this week pans out. But that does mean that my brain is no function today, so I'll try to read Room if I can, but I fully expect to just be playing my Switch all day today or watching movies, because we are not a human today. Brain too small right now for a thinking book. Yay. Health. We're alive. We've made it to the next day. I still don't feel great, but kind of fell into Room last night, made it halfway through, and then proceeded to finish it this morning. As I explained before, Room follows a journey of a woman and her son as they are living in a room. The mother has been kidnapped, and during her kidnapping stay, she gave birth to a son. And this book is actually from the son's perspective. So we start the book by kind of knowing and figuring out how they exist in Room, what they do, their daily routines, all that jazz. I think Room dealt with a very heavy topic in a very digestible way. Hearing it from the perspective of a very naive and lost and confused child made it a little bit nicer, given how traumatic and tragic the event actually is. It also illustrated and outlined the lack of kind of trauma-informedness of people and society, and how it can be really hard for particularly people who haven't experienced anything like that or haven't been through any trauma to empathize and to work with someone who doesn't know how to navigate this world the way that they do, and particularly Jack, who hasn't navigated the world before at all. I think this was actually a marvelous book. I think that I enjoyed it. I probably won't read it again because it was so taxing on my brain to do that, and also reading this at a time when I literally can't leave the house and we're having power outages threatened at the moment, like, this was not a good time to read this book. Overall, I enjoyed Room. I enjoyed the story. I fell into it very quickly. If it's something that you're able to read and handle, I recommend reading this. It was actually really good. Just prepare yourself before you go into it. Make sure that you're not in isolation. I was a bit uncomfortable yesterday reading it out. With all of that said, I am gonna watch the movie tonight because I haven't seen it and I have, you know, nothing better to do with my time at this point. I am glad I read it in this order though, because now I get to start Lonely Castle in the Mirror. This is it. This is the one I am the most excited for. But first, I have some vegetables to garden, which I'm super excited about. And it is something that I can do from the confines of my house. Then we will start A Lonely Castle in the Mirror. Bye. common theme I'm noticing with these books, Ali, is that they're all in the minds of children. Just a theme that I've recognized. Don't know what it means, but it's there. Hello. So we lost most of yesterday to sickness, which was great. We spent most of yesterday napping. It's fine, we love napping here on this channel. Napping is essential to day-to-day living. I have worked a bit this morning, had a brutal headache, had another nap, and then woke up with a bit more energy. But we have made some progress in Lonely Castle in the Mirror. I'm about 100 pages into this so far. This is a magical realism story. I'm getting really like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory vibes from it, mixed with like an anime, mixed with Studio Ghibli. It's really cozy. We're following one girl, her name is Kokoro, and she finds a portal to a castle in her mirror in her bedroom. She and 6 other children are tasked with finding a magical key that will grant them all a wish from the wishing room that they also have to find. At this stage, we're kind of just getting to know all of the characters. As much as I was really enjoying reading it yesterday, I actually want to spend a bit more time with the characters, so I'm just gonna take my time with this one. I'm really enjoying it so far. I think it's really cozy. I think that the characters are quite lovable and they've all got their very own unique personalities. And the fact that we've got so much personality from 7 different characters within the first 100 pages, I think is magnificent. I'm going to sit down and read a little bit of this now before I lose myself to another headache, but just know that I'm having a really good time with this one. Have I collected my thoughts on Room more? No, I haven't. I'm still thinking that this potentially is my favorite so far, but we haven't finished this yet, so watch this space. Good morning, welcome back. We are officially 50 pages from the end of Lonely Castle in the Mirror. It's so good, you guys. The first part of the book I was like, not quite sure what the hype was all about. I wasn't super into it. And then we really got into like the nitty-gritty of the characters and like the weird parallels that didn't line up and stuff. Like it was a bit mysterious. It was whimsical, and the camaraderie and the found family vibes are just... So I'm going to sit down now and finish Lonely Castle in the Mirror, and I don't want it to end, but I also just want to know what happens, and I need to read it. I need to keep going. I need to be in this world for just a little bit longer. That was mean. I'm gonna go like fix this and then we'll be back to finish the video. Ugh. Hello. So I have composed myself, I've dressed accordingly. Welcome to the end of the video. I'll start by wrapping up Lonely Castle in the Mirror very quickly. I loved this. I think this is one of my new favorite books. Initially, like Throughout the start of the book I wasn't super into it. Like, I enjoyed it, it was fun, it read like an anime, it was like fun in that sense, but it wasn't until the end that I proper fell in love with it. And as you saw, it hit very hard. I think this is my favorite read of this entire video. I knew it would be, I suspected it would be, and I'm so glad that Ali has brought this into my life. But all in all, in this video, you've come along, you know this already because you've been here for the whole time if you're still watching, but I have read these 4 books. These 4 of Ali's favourite books. They're not all of them, by all means. There is many more. I could do a part 2 to this at some point in the future with the amount of favourites that she has on her shelf. But overall, I actually really enjoyed most of these. If anything, this video has just solidified that I trust Ali's recommendations and I enjoy the things that she enjoys most of the time as well. Sometimes my brain is a little bit too small for these things, but we're working on it. The only way to grow is to expose. In order of appearance, we read The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime by Mark Haddon. I've already spoken extensively about this, but this came in at 3.5. Coraline by Neil Gaiman was the next one we read. I think this one was equally as fun as The Curious Incident of the Dog in the Nighttime. I had a good time, but due to the lack of nostalgia and my general age, I'm probably going to rate this one a 3 out of 5 stars, just because it didn't tickle that little nostalgia part of me that I thought it was going to. I may have had a little bit too high expectations for this one, but it was still really fun and I still had a really good time reading this one. Next I read Room, and I think this is the one that has stuck with me the most and has embedded itself in my brain even more than Lonely Castle in the Mirror, just because I also watched the movie and compared the movie to the book in this week as well. I gave Room a 4 out of 5 stars because I think that it was quite masterfully done and it, as predicted, dealt with very heavy topics in a very nice way. Oh my god, son, chill out. Jeez. But the one that takes the cake, and we knew it from the start, is Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mizuki Tsujimura. Alright, I have to move, I can't deal with this. As I said before, Lonely Castle in the Mirror comes in at the favourite of this video. New favourite book, 5 out of 5 stars, loved it, was amazing. It dealt with childhood issues in a really nice way. That was one thing I noticed that with all of these books, is that they were very centred on children's perspectives, which I thought was really nice. And this one particularly saw issues that kids are having and the different extremes of those issues that kids can have, and then really validated them and made them real and showed that they have such a huge impact on kids, even if we think that they don't, because they don't seem like real issues to adults. They're definitely real issues and they definitely have an impact, enough that like these incidents in the book, they happen in real life. I see it with the kids that I work with and it's just wild how inconsiderate and invalidating adults can be when it comes to kids' issues. So the friendships in this were amazing, the found family in this was amazing, the adult support eventually was also amazing. So I think that this deserves all of the hype that it's given. It deserves all of the 5 stars that I give it, and I'm so glad that I read this. But that is all for this video. Thank you so much for watching if you have made it this far. Thank you to Ali for recommending these books, they were amazing, and thank you to you for watching. I've already said that, but thank you again because I really do appreciate it so much. I hope you are having a fantastic day or night or whatever time it is where you are. It's currently afternoon for me, as evidenced by the sun. I hope you had fun. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing that. That'd be amazing. And I'll see you guys in the next video, which will be Summer Splash. It starts next week. Get pumped. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye! And she finds a hidden... No, you are definitely not allowed up there because you ate my keyboard.